Hello everyone. Today we'll be starting our first module, which is the wave optics. I'll be telling you about interference first. Introduction. Wave optics is the branch of optics dealing with the nature of light and its propagation. It deals with phenomena like interference, diffraction, and polarization, which can be discussed in the light of Huygens wave theory of light, which was proposed back in 1678. Introduction to interference. It is a phenomena in which two or more waves of same frequency and constant phase difference superimpose to form a resultant wave of redistributed intensity. So you all are very familiar with the basic equations of the interference, and it will be very easy to start with. We know the equation of a wave is given as y equal to a sine kx minus omega t, where a is the amplitude, k is the wave number, which is 2 pi by lambda, and omega or w is the angular frequency, which is 2 pi nu. So let's consider two waves of these equations, y1 and y2, where delta, I call this as a small delta, is the phase of the wave. So the intensity of the resultant wave, which we all are aware of, is given as I, which is I1 plus I2 plus 2 root of I1 I2 cos delta. Now in this case, because one of the wave has zero phase, other one has delta, so the phase difference is the term which is small delta. So here also you should note that intensity is proportional to the amplitude square. What are the types of interference? Types of interference, mainly we know that these are two types of interference. One is constructive interference, wherein, as you see in the diagram, the two waves of the same phase, they superimpose each other, and resultant intensity of the wave, the interference pattern, is much higher. How? It's as it is written here, occurs at points where maximum intensity becomes a plus b whole square when cos delta is equal to 1 or delta is equal to 2n pi. Now the part difference is n lambda here. Destructive interference, the second category, is when the waves are out of phase and they cancel out each other, resulting in a flat pattern or no intensity at all. So as you can see in the diagram also, we have the maxima minima governed by the constructive and destructive interferences. So the minima occurs such that delta is equal to 2n plus minus 1 pi, when the phase difference is 2n plus minus 1 pi. And the minima intensity is given as a minus b whole square. Average intensity is given as a square plus b square, which is I1 plus I2, which also indicates that during the interference phenomena, the law of conservation of energy holds good. It is also to note that the part difference delta is equal to lambda by 2 pi times the phase difference. Next, what are coherent sources? These are the sources of light which produce waves of equal frequency in all directions, such that the phase difference between the waves should either be zero or remains constant with time. There are four methods to generate coherent sources. Young's double slit experiment you already are aware of. Fresnel biprism, we will not be doing that in this course. Michelson interferometer, again we will be mentioning it in further modules. Newton's ring is one we'll be doing here also. So these are the methods you will use to generate coherent sources. And you see a common interference pattern here, where the maxima intensity is 4a square. That is directly from the formula I max, which is a plus b whole square. When a is equal to b, you get 2a whole square or 4a square. Conditions of sustained interference pattern. Sustained interference pattern, first of all, is a pattern with a very high visibility or contrast. So very important points to note here is you can obtain a sustained interference pattern if you have coherent sources. If we use monochromatic light, wavefronts must be in the same state of polarization. We'll be dealing with polarization in this module also. Source separation must be very small. How much of the order of the light used, of the order of the wavelength of light used. Source screen distance must be very large. The amplitudes A and B of the interfering waves must be ideally same. Sources or slits must be narrow. What are the methods to produce interference pattern? Yes, we are already aware about division of wavefront. You have seen already in the Young's double slit experiment and also the Fresnel bioprism experiment, wherein we get interference pattern when we divide the primary wavefront into secondary wavefronts, which result in the interference pattern. But here in the BTech course, what you will be learning is the division of amplitude. So what do we do here? It's the category of methods where the amplitude of incoming light beam gets divided due to partial reflection or refraction, and then the interference between the divided beams result in an interference pattern. So herein you divide the amplitude or intensity of the incident beam. This class of interference requires broad source of light. Example, uniform thin film case, we'll be doing that here. Wedge-shaped film and Newton's ring experiments. The first case we'll be dealing today is interference in plane parallel thin film. So here, as you see in the diagram, we have a thin film of refractive index mu and film thickness T, and you have the incident beam SA, a ray SA of monochromatic light incident at an angle I, angle of incidence I, on a parallel sided transparent thin film of thickness T and refractive index mu. So we have in the diagram the incident light SA falls on the thin film and then gets reflected as ray AR1 and again gets refracted. The refracted beam is AB, which is inside the medium, which is inside the thin film, and again gets reflected from the lower end, this point B gets reflected and comes out of the film from point C. So you see the beam is taking a longer route now because of the reflection and refraction. Now here we have two cases. One is the reflected light case, wherein we observe the reflected interference pattern from the rays R1 and R2, where I have written here reflected light pattern. So here you obtain the reflected light pattern, which further can be visualized using a microscope. So you can visualize the pattern here, and then the transmitted pattern, which is obtained by the interference of T1 and T2, it's written here transmitted light pattern. So that is a different case. So we'll be starting to find what is the path difference exactly in this case, because once we know the path difference, we can calculate what will be the conditions of maxima and minima in this case. So optical path difference, please note it is the optical path difference between the two reflected rays. Which reflected rays we are talking about? AR1 and CR2. So the path difference is now path of ABC in the film minus path AN in air. This is the path difference exactly. This is the optical path difference. So now you see AB and BC, this ray is actually traveling in the refractive index mu, and AN is traveling in the refractive index 1, which is of the air. So denser to rarer medium. So the path difference is mu times AB plus BC minus AN. Now our aim is to find what are these values. So from figure, we can see that AB equal to BC, which is equal to BM by cos R, or BM is the thickness of the film, which is T. That's why it is T by cos R. Then again now AN is equal to AC times sin I. Again AC can be broken down into AM plus MC. And using the geometry here, you can find AN to be equal to 2T by cos R sin R mu sin R. So AN becomes 2 mu T sin square R by cos R. Substituting for AB, BC and AN in equation number 1, we get the path difference to be equal to 2 mu T cos R. Now there is a very important treatment called Stokes treatment for the phase change that has to be incorporated here if you want to find the final path difference. So we'll just go back to the image. Now see here, the beam SA gets reflected from the top surface and goes as beam AR1, and the bottom beam, which is the reflecting at the point B, is coming out of the surface at point C and is the beam CR2. So if you see the mode of transmission of the beam SAR1, it is traveling from a rarer medium and bounces back at the denser medium boundary. So this beam suffers a path difference, additional path difference of lambda by 2. That is what Stokes treatment tells us. I'll be reading the statement in a short while. So you see here, beam AR1 suffers extra lambda by 2 path difference, whereas the beam BCR1, BC is in the denser medium and goes out to the rarer medium. So the beam is going from a denser medium to rarer medium. So there is no bouncing here. So there is no additional phase difference or path difference added. So if you see in between the beams AR1 and CR2, you have only additional path difference of lambda by 2. So that is what we have done here. We add this extra lambda by 2 to account for the Stokes treatment. So I just read the statement for you. Stokes treatment for phase change says that when a light traveling from a rarer medium gets reflected by the surface of a denser medium, then it suffers a phase change of pi or path difference of lambda by 2, but no phase change occurs for the vice versa case. So please remember, you will be using Stokes treatment in the next topic also. So our conditions of maxima and minima become, we have for maxima, which is the constructive interference, we equate the path difference to be n lambda. So we get 2 mu T cos R is equal to 2n minus 1 lambda by 2, n starts from 1, and condition for minima becomes 2 mu T cos R equal to n lambda. So please remember this formula very carefully, because we are used to remembering path difference is equal to n lambda for maxima case, but please see it is 2 mu T cos R equal to a 2n minus 1 times lambda by 2 for minima for maxima case because of the Stokes treatment. Please remember this. And now if we go for the transmitted light case, it will be exactly complementary to the previous case. How complementary? All because of the Stokes treatment. Now you will see that similarly in the transmitted light case, the same derivation holds good, but now you're talking about the interference between the beams T1 and T2, and you see the beam coming out below the thin film from the point B and from the point D. From the point B, the beam is coming out from denser to rarer medium. Therefore, it does not have any additional phase shift or the path difference added. And same holds good for the beam coming out of the point D. So there is no additional path difference to be added here. So you see the condition for maxima becomes 2 mu t cos r equal to n lambda for the maxima, and for minima it becomes 2 mu t cos r equal to 2n minus 1 lambda by 2. So you see interference patterns obtained in reflected and transmitted light cases are complementary to each other. What do we mean by complementary to each other? You see here just next to the diagram, these are the fringes you see. So the one corresponding black or the dark or the minima for the reflected light case is actually the maxima in transmitted light case pattern. That is what we mean by